Was.
All right, so your question to me was the hidden issues, the hidden things that not only are in this current movement, but let's face it, there are things that are being hidden within relationships, within groups all over the realm at this moment. Yes? I'm speaking to Heather, who is behind the camera. And I am that I am. I am Safita for those who do not recognize me. It is not Louise per se. It is Safita that is speaking at this moment. We are in discussion, and I thought it would be prevalent to perhaps bring some enlightenment, some inside viewing of situations that arise when people come together in groups, in circumstances of creating. Yes, not everybody is ready or at the place where they are sufficiently at a balance to absorb all the information. And so there are certain things that are held back, not because they do not want to share it, but it is the case of, let's just use some of the old phraseology that has gone through your time. Loose lips sink ships. Yes. Chinese whispers, etc., etc. Gossip. See, what has happened recently is a statement was made that there will be a message sent out, hopefully on this date. You see, everybody forgot or did not register the word hopefully. It will be done on this date. What they heard was it will be done on this date. And so now we have a couple of hundred people that are angry, upset, because something is not going according to their expectations, their planning. All right. Why? Because now they look a fool because they've gone and told so many other people that this is what's going to happen, instead of hopefully this is what's going to happen. They're hoping to get this out. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, in as much as long as you take responsibility for it. But this is exactly why there are, I'm going to call them black holes, in many constructual building plans that are put together by groups. You have layers. Just let's use a business construct. You have, let us just say, the CEO. You have the CFO. You have his particular small admin team. You have different. You go down the flow chart until you come down to the general office worker. Now, the general office worker knows something is happening. They've been told, be prepared for this change. This is going to be implemented, and it'll be implemented around this date. Okay. And how many of you have been in a situation where that date has come and gone within the business, and you go, well, what's happening? What's happening? But you know it's happening, but it just has not occurred. Now, this doesn't make the CEO, it doesn't make the CFO, it doesn't make the leaders of the company liars. It just means that things are not dovetailing, things have not come into alignment, and they need tweaking. They need to be adjusted so that when it does come out, it is running smoothly. How many of you also know that when you put forward a business construct and you create a business, or you create something and you launch it on day one, it's not perfect. It is not a well-oiled machine. It has glitches. There are things that you have forgotten. You have things that come up and you go, I don't know how to deal with that. Well, in exactly the same manner, this way of being, this new way of being, which actually is not new. And as I keep reminding Heather, there is nothing new under the sun. I don't care how new you all say that this is happening. It's built on a template that somebody else, some other time, has done something similar. 9, 10 years ago, a similar sort of thing was attempted by various other people in this country. There have been other people in different countries attempting to take back their land in a peaceful and sovereign and honorable way. So we have to realize that in the greater complexity of looking at the cosmos, at looking at the macro view, there are templates, there are blueprints in place for us to reach out, take a hold of, put our own concept on, and build in this present time. It's not going to be perfect immediately, but as you grow into it, as you work into it, so it will become this perfect thing that you are looking for. And even then, it's not going to be perfect because you will still find tweaks and things to improve, which is as it should be because it will grow with you. Now, the general person on the street is not going to know every single detail of what is happening in the meeting rooms, is not going to know what is happening in the meditation space, is not going to know what is happening in all the different places behind closed doors, which needs just a small fraction of people to function in a cohesive manner to get those ideas, those concepts concreted in and established. They do not need 1,000 people putting in their opinions, their thoughts. Yes, it is good to be able to have a say, as in we're going to look at, and I'm going to be purely hypothetical here, we're going to look at a water filtration system. Now, we would like to hear from you what you consider a great filtration system, that we may take your ideas and take it to the table, that we may sift through it and then pull out the best. Does that mean that all 10,000 of you that put your ideas forward are going to be sitting around that table to make sure that your concept gets brought forward? No, it means that the ideas are going to be taken. It means that the words that have been put forward will be taken to the table, to the room, and the specialists will get together and they will go through, good idea, good idea, good idea. That's been there, done that, that doesn't work. And they will be able to create something. Now, again, this is a hypothetical example. So if you can take that and put it into what is happening within this movement that is happening at this particular moment, which so many of you are behind, and so many of you are in a place of disbelief, a place of this isn't going to work. I am that I am my own sovereign being. I am under the divine creator. I am born of this land. I am this, I am that. You have your own stories around all of this, and that's fine. My question to each one of you is, why are you still under the system you hate? The system that is breaking you down, the system that is pressuring you into complying in so many different ways. Where is your solution? So instead of, shall we say, being contraire and the stick in the eye to those who are attempting to bring something to the fore that works not just for one group of people, but for the many. Now, it is a common, how do one put this without offending or bugger it? There are people out there that say, oh, the world is only 6,000 years old, 7,000 years old, 8,000 years old. And then there are others that say, my people have been here for 100,000. And they have the law that goes back. And that means they have the oral stories that take them back that many years. Who's right? Who's wrong? Both. Because there have been multiple resets in this timeline, multiple times where this world has been in a cataclysmic event that happens every 170 odd years, 150 odd years, there's an event that happens. The last big event was in the 1900s, early 1900s, around 1902. It wasn't a cataclysmic, but it was a subset of that where things altered, shifted, and changed. And if you go back into your history, as I've advised Heather, Louise, and many others that I speak to, go back and look at the old history books that you can find, if you're able to find them, the old newspapers, and you will find that you will go 1700s and the 1800s, everything's fine, and then you will get to 1890 and 99, and then you get 1900, 1901, and then 1904. 1903 in your archives if you're lucky, but 1902 is missing from your major newspaper articles. Now you might get archives in smaller Citadel archives, but not your major ones. Why? Something happened that they are perhaps pushing away, hiding. Why would an entire year just be eradicated from the news? Question to ask yourself, but that is not what I'm here to talk to you about today. What you need to know is that there are things at play at a cosmic macro level that you in the micro level have no idea. No idea at all. And for you to get on and say, I need to know what's going on at the macro level, when you don't even comprehend the micro level, is rather arrogant, if I may say so, from the perception of being a higher energy. And I have had this discussion, so to speak, with Louise. When she gets a little bit uppity, I say, no. You have a perspective that you can see up to a point. But beyond that, you are making subjective decisions, subjective summations. You do not know the facts. You do not know the reality of what is happening behind closed doors. So shut the pie hole, if I can be so blunt, and said with love and respect. And remember, if you are coming from a place of honor, that means not only do you honor yourself to find the truth for yourself, but you honor every single living creature around you, not to destroy what is being built. Because when you do that, you are not honoring them and you are not honoring yourself. So yes, there are parts, shall we say, that you are not seeing, and you will sense this. You will have this gut feeling. There is something happening that we don't know. It doesn't feel good to me. What's going on? Why is all of this happening? And you get angry. You get antsy. You get to the point where I'm giving up. This is a load of bullshit. Go ahead and do that and watch it crumble before it's had chance to be brought into the fullness of what it is meant to be. As a wise man called Marcel said, when something is about to be brought into fruition, brought into the fullness of its time, it's hijacked or sabotaged by those closest to it. And sometimes those closest to it sabotage its creation because of the influence of what is coming from outside, because they cannot contain themselves emotionally. And emotions at this particular time of the year, in any given situation, are tantamount to being full on fiery explosive because of the tensions going on around Christmas time. You've got to buy presents, you've got family coming, you've got to cook, you've got to get this, you've got to get, and you have forgotten what this time of the year actually is about. It's not about some child being born in a manger. That was actually, if you do your mathematical arrangements correctly in a logical formation, by what you're given to in your own documentation called the Bible, you will see that that should have been done in celebrated in August sometime, August, September, around that time. But no, they put it into the December time because it covers an original peoples, and I'm not just talking of the originals here in the Australia, I'm talking the original peoples around the realm before they were taken over by the conquering species that invaded your planet and hybrided them and enslaved them. They would celebrate this time of year as the, depending on which place you were in, northern or southern hemisphere, it would be the time of going into the darkness, the preparation for summer, the time of death, so to speak, of the harvest has been brought in. This now being prepared, the ground is resting. It is the time to prepare oneself, to hibernate, so to speak, to go inward, to look at one's own life, to see what is coming in, that you may come springtime, be ready to regenerate like the trees, which is why they would have the tree, the evergreen tree, encased in their homes or near their homes with lights on it to remind themselves that the light within still burns, that the tree, the evergreen tree, is still full of life. They didn't chop it down and stick it in a bucket. No, the evergreen tree was there, near their place, or in the middle of their community or village, as a reminder that life goes on even in the darkest of times, even in the fallowest of times, i.e. winter, when nothing would naturally grow in abundance. In the southern hemisphere, they would have the celebration of how everything is coming in, and it's the warmth, and it's the light, and it's the long, and it's so you have the extreme opposites. But this is how it is supposed to be. And yet you've been caught up in a illusion and a lie. And you've been told, oh no, the 25th of December is the birth date of a particular entity, and you must now worship him, and bloody, 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 blah. Now, I do not do this to irritate and to annoy those who have a very, very deep belief. This one was going to be a preacher. She has much knowledge on this whole situation. But even she now can see through reading that thing called the Bible and the missing documents that were removed from that over the many, many alterations that it was made, she can see how it has been a copy of yet somebody else's belief system, somebody else's religion, pre-Bible time. But you have to find that out for yourself. This is not the time for me to convert you to another way of believing. It's not up to me to do that in any way. It's up to you to find what it is for yourself. Another thing people keep throwing about is the ascension. We're on our ascension. We're not under the authority of any man. We don't stand under anybody. We are only under the divine creator. No, it's true. Every single living person who comes to the awareness that they are alive as a living soul, as an immortal being, is immediately under the umbrella of the divine creator. In other words, they are inside the creator's hand. The creator holds them, covers them like this. But even in this, there is a functionality that needs to happen. Are you as an individual able to run a country? Are you as an individual able to ensure that the rubbish is picked up for everybody every single week? Are you able to ensure that the lights go on and off every night, etc., etc.? No. This is why many sovereign beings, many immortal souls living within a meat suit will come together and conjoin together. They will join hands, they will dovetail, and they will say, we will use the oldest ruling law, LORE, or way of being that is around. And for many people, here in Australia, it is the originals. In Africa, it is the indigenous people of Africa. Many of them have situations where they live in a village. They have a village leader. They have a Lobungula, which is a king. They have the elders. Everything is done together in the central part of the village, where they will sit with their feet going in. So everybody is equal. Everybody sits. Yes, there are some that are tyrants. There are some that are not worthy of the leadership role. But everybody comes in and abides by the authority of the law, L-O-R-E, of the culture, of the people of that land. I do not comprehend, in all honesty, why, and I'm going to be very blunt here, why the Caucasian group is the group that is the most defiant of this. What makes you so special? What makes you so special? Oh, I've worked hard to earn my way. At whose cost? Oh, no, that wasn't me. I didn't rape, pillage, and steal. No. Okay. Your ancestors may have. No. My ancestors didn't do that. They were born here from, well, let's go back. How did your family come to this land? This one has had to do it herself in Zimbabwe, or Rhodesia, where she grew up. Yes, she was born of the land there. But she is Caucasian. She is of Scottish, Irish, many different descents. But her parents and herself born of the land. So therefore they consider themselves of the birthright of that land, that they are of that land. They are of Africa, of Rhodesia, of Zimbabwe, whatever name you want to give that particular part of the continents. Yes. And many feel the same of being born of the land that they are residing in. They did not murder anybody to take their place. They did not steal the land. No, you didn't. But the corporations that you bought the land from did. Their masters did. Their masters did. And has been explained, or attempted to be explained, many times. Unfortunately, in the eyes of law, you are holding stolen property. And you're liable. Think of it this way. If somebody broke into your house, stole a prized possession, went onto eBay or Marketplace and sold it as their own property, and the police caught the person who bought it and said, that is stolen property. You are liable to give it to us so we may return it. Otherwise, you are in breach. Oh, no. I didn't steal it. I just bought it from this person. I didn't steal it. But you are holding stolen property. Therefore, you are complicit. Yes, you didn't do a thorough check. But how do you do a thorough check when you don't know what you don't know until you know it? Well, now you do know it. Many of you have been given information. But instead of going in and finding people who can perhaps explain it more to you, you have sat in your head, this isn't fair. This isn't fair. No. My family's lived on this land for 5-6 generations. This isn't fair. I have 20 houses. I have 20 pieces of land. I have 1,000 this, I have 1,000 that. Well, in all honesty, how many pieces of land do you need to live on to be happy? This isn't about taking everything away from people. This is like going back to what I have often said to Heather, the table of 13, the council of 13, the round table, King Arthur. Oh, but King Arthur only had 12 people around. Oh, yeah, true. But there was always a 13th member in the shadows, so to speak, just outside of the circle. So that if there was ever a vote that went in, and it was a divided vote, 6 and 6, that person would come and hear the arguments of both sides, would go away and deliberate, and then come in with their vote to make it 7-6. Because there is often times where you need that adjudication, that observation from an unbiased perspective. I comprehend the entirety of having worked another lie that has been put towards the entire populace of the realm. You will never make anything unless you work. You pull yourself up from the bootstraps. You must come to the realization. I'm actually in the process of writing a book that will be out very, very soon for those who are interested on the mystery of self-mastery and abundance. And in there, I talk about the inversion that has been going on in this planet, in the fact that you have been living within the concept of a holographic realm, a dream within a dream within a dream. And you've been told that nothing works for you unless you apply yourself. Unless you work 5 hours, a 5 to 9 hour day, unless you give of your energy, of your time, your blood, tears, and sweat, you'll never amount to anything. You'll never get anything. And those bludgers, those that are just living off the land and they're not doing a thing, well, to be quite honest, they're the ones that have got it right. They have a little piece of land. They grow their vegetables. They go barter. They don't pay rent. That is the way things were originally meant to be. This is how the Terrans, the original occupants of this realm, many resets ago, this is how they lived. They didn't pay rent. They didn't own more than what they needed. In fact, they didn't own anything. They built multitude of buildings. Yes, they had an extremely extensive technology system going on, but they worked in conjunction with everybody in the village. Everybody owned a share. Everybody would come and partake in the celebrations. They didn't need to ask permission. May I please put my vehicle here? I'm going to be here for half an hour. Oh, yes, you can use my space. No, it wasn't like that. It was everybody's space. Now, you have had generations, lifetimes of being taught the only way to do things is the way that the governance has set. Licensing, registering, obedience, training, this, work. So when somebody comes up and says, we have an alternative, it is foreign unto your soul and scary. And I honor that. But I also ask you to look deeper than just the surface fear and allow yourself to begin to permeate into what is happening here. If not you, who? If not when, now? And remember, a very great man in your history once said, oh, don't ask what the country can do for you, but ask what you can do for the country. It doesn't matter if there are 1,000 different groups living on a particular piece of soil, each with their own different belief of how things need to do. If they can come together with an umbrella system that incorporates each of their ways of doing it in a conducive and harmonious manner, is that not better than what you currently have? I will leave you with that small thought now, and I will come back with some other questions that I believe Heather may have for me. But I hope that has given you an idea that, yes, there are doors that you know are there. and you want to smash those doors open. But those doors are not meant for you at this moment. You may not have the capacity to contain the knowledge that is behind those doors. Doesn't mean that you're stupid. It doesn't mean that you are unintelligent. It just means you do not have the capacity energetically to take what the spiritual component is of that particular doorway. But you may have it in a few weeks' time when more has been explained, when more has been given out, when a greater synergy of energy has been presented. Don't be a bull in a china shop and break everything before you've had a chance to truly observe. And don't berate others when they are just message bearers. They have the scroll, the manuscript in their hands, and they are reading from it, from what they have been given from those above them. It's like the CEO writes an email to his secretary and says, disperse this to everybody. And everybody reads this, hits the panic button, throws the shit at the fan, and goes straight back to the secretary and goes, it's not fair. Why is this? Is it the secretary's fault? No. She is just, or he is just, the bearer of the news. They are just passing information. If you feel that there is a closed door, a closed window, a gap, something that just doesn't seem to gel, contact them in a polite manner. They've given you many ways to contact them. Write them and say, I don't fully grasp this. Please, can I have a wider explanation? Please, can you go deeper into this matter? And I believe that they will honor that rather than being shot down in public without a jury of 12 peers to defend them. I am that I am. I am Safita. Thank you.